Mike Valerio is following the story from Seoul. A dizzying 48 hours, Mike. You've been in the thick of it. Parliament preparing to vote on impeaching President Yoon as soon as this weekend. We know the opposition needs at least 8 of the 101 legislators from President Yoon's own party to back the bill for it to pass with the required supermajority of 2/3. Does it appear that they have the votes right now?
The votes may not be there, and that is the drama that now inhabits the National Assembly. Are those votes going to be there? Are members of the president's party going to cross over and say, you know what happened was totally unacceptable, and we need to put country before party? That's what we are hearing essentially from the opposition lawmakers who are hoping that is the scenario that plays out. So we may have impeachment be blocked, Bianna. And if that happens, if those 8 votes do not materialize, expect scenes Saturday, Sunday, into Monday coming out of this bureau of protests that are stretching throughout Seoul, of thousands and thousands of people coming together to say what we witnessed Monday night going into early Tuesday morning is not where South Korea is going to be in the 21st century and is not what they want to harken back to in terms of authoritarian rule and martial law, what we saw in the 60s, 70s, and into the late 1980s. So there's the impeachment bucket right there. Is he going to resign? Probably not. Bianna, we have new reporting from the president's office when they came out with a new statement seemingly justifying what the president did. It's just holding up the statement right here. They came out and they said that this declaration of martial law was, quote, a measure to regulate political activity, which his critics would say, okay, you're going to declare martial law to regulate political activity. That is what happens in a dictatorship. In a democracy, political activity is not regulated by calling in the military to run the government and to control civilian life. The statement goes on to say all of these measures were taken within legitimate framework, which the opposition also disagrees with. So it seems as though he's not going to resign because that justification was put out. And then finally, Bianna, the third bucket of where we could go, what we want to talk about, police charges. We here at CNN were able to confirm today that the president is facing an investigation from Seoul's National Police, the division that deals with investigations on a national level, into treason allegations. So he still has several years left, about 3 years left of his term. Investigations like this usually take a long time, but conceivably, if he does escape impeachment, if he doesn't resign, could he be facing prison? That is certainly a possibility that could manifest itself, but there's a lot of moving parts that are in play here over the next couple days, months, potentially years ahead, Bianna.
He'd be in long company if he did end up going to prison, as has been known for several of his predecessors. Interesting so far, the only major member of his cabinet to resign at this point is the defense minister, and we'll continue to follow this developing story. Mike Valerio, thank you so much.